the sky. Oh, won't you take me down to Memphis on a midnight ride? I wanna move. Playing in a traveling pain. Yeah, but I'm flying across the land, trying to get a hand. Playing in a traveling band. Take me to the hotel, back and gone. Oh well, come on, won't you get me to my room? I wanna move. Playing in a traveling band.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Drew Grimaldi podcast. Thanks so much for joining us here today. We have got some crazy stuff to go over, but we had a pretty crazy week. We had a very interesting week, and we'll get to that because SCOTUS shot down Trump's tariffs, but they didn't completely shut them down, and I'll explain that. Now, this first video here that I have for you, it's going to be reminiscent of 2024, and apparently Kamala Harris has not learned her lesson about drinking and doing interviews. She's done this before. Everybody calls her out on it. It's super obvious. And like, she wants to be commander-in-chief. She wants to be the president of the United States. I mean, these people are so stupid. But you have to check this out. And she really does think that she has a big shot going into, 2028. She decided not to run for governor. And you know what? I always call her Kamala.
So many stars in our party. There's so many stars. And let's not be afraid of them. You talk about Mamdani. I mean, he's exciting this group of people who otherwise don't think of themselves as being aligned or a part or even seen by the system. You just look at the range of what we have. So many. Jasmine Crockett, who I just talked to recently. I mean, we have so many stars. We have so many stars in our party.
They have so many stars in their party. Jasmine Crockett is losing in her race right now for re-election, but let's continue on. I wanted to get to this because it's been so important, the revelations that we found about the Epstein files. And the Epstein files, this guy, Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, had fucking his hands all over the place. And the people that ended up coming out in this list, some of them were pretty surprising. Some of them not so surprising. Everybody knew Bill Clinton was a pedophile. And that was actually one of the revelations in the Epstein files, was that Hillary Clinton was in 2012 was actually pregnant again by Bill Clinton. I mean, seriously, this guy will fuck anything. Anything that moves. He'll fuck anything that moves. I mean, this guy, he's a sleazeball, but it turns out that one of Trump's advisors in Trump 1.0 was a Jeffrey Epstein fixer. He was going behind Trump's back and leaking things to the Chinese government. Oh, and he also embezzled money from one of the campaigns for the wall. But I digress. Steve Bannon was hired by Epstein to work on his public image. So this is what they do. Check this out. I've never heard Epstein's voice before. He actually sounds like a fanook, like a twinkle toes motherfucker. You know what I mean? But listen to this guy. His voice is super gay.
Who won't enjoy. It turns out that potentially one of the bad things to teach children is how to write. So it's writing, reading, and arithmetic was supposed to be, everyone's supposed to be taught, but writing forces you into a very narrow channel of thinking. You have to write in a certain form, in a certain way, in a certain linear pattern. So your thinking becomes somewhat narrow. The reason I brought up writing is one of the recent discoveries of mine with respect to Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle is they never wrote anything. They spoke, and people around who could write wrote. Socrates could think. So that was
Jesus of Nazareth was the same way, right? Never.
That's Bannon speaking.
I thought he was a carpenter.
He was a carpenter.
Didn't he need like a little carpenter's tonight? I don't want to get that.
But at least his written record.
Mocking
One last
Christianity.
thing.
Piece of shit.
Thank you for having me to your house.
Steve Bannon.
And one of the things that people won't...
But this is after he already knows that he's a sex offender and he's been doing all these nasty things to these girls. And this guy, boom, he comes out like that. Okay. So the man, Steve Bannon, was hired to rehab Epstein's public image. So he had him over at his house, made this video, and that was just a clip of it, okay? This right here is another one, and Epstein's very fucking out there. I mean, this is even when he looks older, right? Significantly older. But still, even more, and even, I think in this one, he actually does bring up that he's mocking that he was like a pedophile. But check this out.
Is for the way women think.
The way women think.
That's correct.
Is that not a sop because of all the depravity you've done against young women, and your new sop is that their women's thinking is the future?
No, I've always believed that women would be able to take over. I'm a firm believer and supporter of Time's Up. But the future is for the way women think.
Well, that would explain why he is probably a Democrat. Because it's that women's mentality that men do not have, where it's suicidal empathy. Like, women will go out of their way, and they're just different creatures than men, okay? It's not a bad thing. I'm not saying this is like a derogatory thing. But it's just interesting to me that he was able to get Ghislaine Maxwell, who was actually from a lot of wealth herself. But they say that they arrested Ghislaine Maxwell, and then I see pictures of them side to side. It's not the same woman. It doesn't even look like the same woman. So I'm going to show you this video here. But this one here is a video of Ghislaine Maxwell in her prison cell. And in this video, it doesn't look like her at all. Looks like maybe she put on a bunch of weight. Looks like a Ukrainian lesbian, let's be honest. It looks nothing like her. And I don't know. I mean, do people put on weight in prison? I don't know. I don't know. I've never been to prison. But there's no way in hell you're going to tell me. There's no way you're going to tell any sane person that that's her. No one is going to really buy that. It's just crazy because they expect you to believe that. And I know I use the word crazy a lot. And crazy is the perfect term for this shit. I mean, I shouldn't say crazy anymore. I should say demonic. Because what the Democrats propose is just so anti-Christ, anti-self-love. You know, and that's why a lot of their people do, in fact, have mental illness. There was a study that came out that said 71% of Democrats identified as having some type of mental illness. So think about that. Do you really want these people in charge of your kids at school? Do you really want these people, these demonic people, in charge of all that stuff? I mean, somebody out there probably thought Epstein was a good guy at one point. And now look what it is. And then you find out that Bannon has been helping him the whole time. So you're never going to tell me in a million years that that's Ghislaine Maxwell. You're never going to fucking convince me of that. I think she had enough money where she dipped out. She's out of here. And that's some other person. I mean, think about this. When they arrest Ghislaine Maxwell, and she says, I'm not Ghislaine Maxwell. And they go, yeah, you are, come on. And they take her in. At some point, that person's probably just like, okay, yeah, fine, I'm Ghislaine Maxwell, I guess. I don't know what else I can do at this point. I don't know. I don't know how it goes, but fuck, that is not her. I'm telling you, that is not her. So it turns out, too, in the files, that billionaire CEO, ex-CEO of Victoria's Secret, Les Wexler, was brought in front of Congress, and he was deposed, but he gave a lot of answers, right? And what it looks like, Les Wexler was the biggest benefactor, the largest donor, or whatever you want to call it, to Jeffrey Epstein. And he was the CEO of like the Victoria's Secret, which I think is kind of strange. But if you're an innocent man, you're going to want to explain what happened and how this guy conned you, right? Lawyers are going to tell you it is yes, no, and don't give any more answers than you need to. So this guy's lawyer was hot mic'd, and I'm going to play it here. And he goes, "I'll fucking kill you if you say more than yes or no." And they caught him on a hot mic. Check this out. It's like, here we are.
It's just regularly done. Answer the question. 5 words, okay? Answer the question. Okay. It was just regularly done.
Play it again here, so you guys.
Answer the question. 5 words, okay? Answer the question. Okay. It was just regularly done.
So, maybe there's a little more there than that. I don't know. I gave you my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Email me. Tell me what you think. So, this one here is the definition of literally. I mean, it proves that liberals are a mental illness, and it really is at this point. But you got to see this, okay? Everything's going great in the Trump administration. Everything has been going absolutely fantastic. It's been great. And then you get crazy liberals like this. Check this one out, okay? Spooky almost. But this is what we're dealing with.
Oh, we warned you. We warned you not to give him a second term. We did. Are y'all seeing it now? Put it on your shoulders. If you voted for Trump, this is on you.
Voted for Trump all 3 times he won, man.
For what's fucking happening right now. You, the one that voted for that man, even though we were screaming for decades that he's nothing but scum. Y'all knew about the Epstein connection for decades. Oh, he likes him young. Enjoy your life and enjoy your vote. I hope you can stand proud behind it now. I wonder how many will say, I voted for Trump. I doubt many will now.
They always have that look, don't they? They always have that look. That look in their eyes of just pure fucking demonic, crazy freak. They all have the eyes. I'm telling you, you can tell a lot by somebody's eyes. They look you in the eye and how crazy they act. So, I have covered it here before about the Somali fraud in Minnesota. How under Tim Walz, Governor Tim Walz, who was almost ran for vice president of the United States. What a big fall from grace that was. Magic hands, tampon Tim Walz. This guy put tampons in the boys' bathrooms in public schools. Okay, so continuing on. Tampon Tim. Let's $9 billion in daycare fraud happen in Minnesota under his watch by the Somali community running these daycare scams, making millions of dollars, sending this money overseas to what is probably a terrorist cell. Probably. I mean, they're not friendly to the United States, but we're funding them through this bullshit because these people are sending it back home. It's not even staying in the States. So now that we have ICE hunting them down, now all of a sudden They want reparations for the torture that ISIS put them through. Unbelievable. Absolutely not.
Fits into our criteria of small business owners, not those who make 200,000 and above. We don't make that much amount. We have been suffering since the crisis of ICE. We also demand an immediate help to evictions so families are not pushed to homelessness during the crisis. Our community deserves accountability. Our community deserves safety. We need also justice for those who lost their lives defending the community. Relief programs fits into our
See, and it's disgusting too because they use this like social justice type talk, and they shouldn't be killing our citizens either. Talking about Renee Good, who tried to run the ICE officer over with her car and got shot, and this guy named Petty or Preddy or whatever the hell his name is. It was like Preddy, Alex Preddy, and this guy comes with a gun to a protest and tries to attack a cop and ends up getting shot. Don't fucking bring a gun to a protest. That's not even legal. Like, what are you fucking doing? I mean, these people do not care. They do not care about the laws. That's why the Second Amendment is so important. Because they do not, the bad guys, the demonics, they do not care. They do not care about your life, your rights. They hate you. If you're a Christian conservative, they hate you. And you need to know these things because the world out there, it's not a good place for Christians. With Trump as our president, it has gotten better. He's put some hits on some of the people in Nigeria to help the Christians out there so that they weren't being hunted and murdered. But it's a problem. And I think about it because under the Biden administration, it was just neglect, and they didn't care. And it's the same with the Epstein files. Like, the only reason that these people wanted the Epstein files released was to get Trump. It's always Trump. It's always Trump. But yesterday was not one of the best days that we've ever had in terms of getting shot down by the tariffs. Okay. So tariffs got shot down. And as the tariffs got shot down, there's a lot of uncertainty with that. Stock market did, in fact, rally after that. A lot of people that are no more than I do, they say that it's because of the lack of uncertainty with like tariffs and whatnot. But it's not all good. And I think there's a lot of really. I always love what Jonathan Turley has to say about a lot of these things. But with that, let me find this one here. So I'm no constitutional, professional expert, whatever you want to call it. But there are people much smarter than me that are. And they all say the same thing. With these economic tariffs, what Trump did was just cite the wrong law. All you got to do is go back, check the box, and come back and try again, and then we'll pass it. So it's not like everything's done. Let me see if I can get this. So with that, they feel like SCOTUS.
Administration has other tools in its toolbox. It can actually impose tariffs under other statutes. So this night is hardly over for the administration when it comes to tariffs. The administration has other tools in its toolbox. It can actually impose tariffs.
And that's it. So, and I think the ruling was ridiculous too, because how in the hell do you go out there and say, after everything that the president has done, to build all this money, bring all these investments back. Here's Secretary
where
Scott
President
Bessent
Trump have
response to
negotiated,
that.
say with the UK, say with the European Union,
Check this
that
out.
were done in part with leverage from the tariffs, and for that matter, the peace deals as well to solve these wars. Are those deals under any kind of threat now? Do you think everyone will honor the deals, even though now supposedly the tariffs have been done asunder by the Supreme Court?
Well, again, we can move to 232 and 301 tariffs, so I think that everyone is going to honor their deal. And there is the draconian alternative that Supreme Court reaffirmed that the president has. He has the right to a complete embargo.
Right.
Like he can just cut countries off. He can cut whole product lines off. We can't receive any money. So, I would call on all countries to honor their agreements and move forward.
All right, one of these trade deals that you
Will
and
Kane's
Mr.
good.
Greer and
I always
President
like
Trump
Will
have
Kane.
negotiated, say with the...
But essentially, on that, he says, nothing's changing. Absolutely nothing's changing. And this is Trump here talking about the economy. Now, he says it. With the economy, whatever happens, it's on me. Check this out. I love it. Somebody in Washington that actually is accountable. What?
Right for the country, because now, will I figure something out? That the answer is yes, but it won't be as beautiful as it is right now. I just hope the Supreme Court does what's right for the country, because now, will I figure something out?
You need them to do what's right for the country, and they didn't. You had Amy Coney Barrett and a few other ones that did not go our way. But Kavanaugh actually gave us in his dissent, gave us the roadmap to be able to put these tariffs back on. This is Trump on responding to them. Now, the thing is, I kind of expected a little bit more from Trump on this front. And I say this for this reason. Because was it a big thing? Yeah, it was. Was it absolutely the biggest thing? Not really. It wasn't like the worst thing ever, But look, check this out. This one here is the secretary.
I would also like to take a moment to address today's Supreme Court ruling, and I would note that I did not change a single word in my speech post the ruling. President Trump will always put our national security and Americans first. And as I have said before, the president has multiple tools in his toolbox. Let's be clear about what today's ruling was and what it wasn't. Despite the misplaced gloating from Democrats, ill-informed media outlets, and the very people who gutted our industrial base, the court did not rule against President Trump's tariffs. 6 justices simply ruled that IEEPA authorities cannot be used to raise even $1 of revenue. This administration will invoke alternative legal authorities to replace the IEEPA tariffs. We will be leveraging Section 232 and Section 301 tariff authorities that have been validated through thousands of legal challenges. Treasury's estimates show that the use of Section 122 authority, combined with potentially enhanced Section 232 and Section 301 tariffs, will result in virtually unchanged tariff revenue in 2026.
See? Nothing's changing. Absolutely nothing's changing. So, sorry, Democrats. Democrats, on the other hand, they were super excited about this because Democrats are self-destructive creatures. And, Kamala was super pumped about it too. Yeah, I say Kamala because there's no fucking way anybody's going to force me to say Kamala. So, you have, I gotta say this first. I love Scott Bessent. This guy is a rock star as well in the administration. Not only is he made tons of money privately, he decided to join the Trump administration as like an openly gay member, right? So, oh yeah, Trump's such a terrible guy. But that man holds his fucking own. And he will absolutely challenge the shit out of anybody else. Now, these You got to listen to some of these oral arguments here. Okay? Check this.
What role did Robinson play in the development of SB 8?
Justice Thomas, Robinson is the...
That was a different one. Okay. So that one was for gerrymandering. But I want to show you this one because Democrats were celebrating the whole thing. Okay? And,
should men be in women's locker rooms? Should men...
I guess they're different ones. But this is what the Democrats stand for. But the SCOTUS on... hang on. Maybe I got to be more specific. I'm not as prepared today as I normally am. But... like I said, Democrats were super pumped about this whole thing, and they did not win at all. So here's another one for you. Check this out here.
How are you going to get around this ruling as it's written?
Well, the ruling came down. It is what it is. We're very focused on using the alternative authorities that Congress has delegated to the president. The first one, which the president signaled today, comes under Section 122, which allows a 10% tariff to be imposed on a temporary basis. The president has that order. It's in the White House. I just looked at it and saw it, so I expect him to sign it shortly this evening. And then simultaneously, the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative will initiate a number of investigations under Section 301 of unfair trading practices by a number of different countries to assess if we can impose tariffs on that basis if we need to, if they don't resolve those issues. And of course, we have existing national security tariffs on autos, steel, aluminum, etc. So although the tools may change, the policy remains the same.
Yeah, so the sections you talk about are in statute. They're passed by Congress. They enabled the president to do this with a different mechanism to do it. But what happens to the tariffs that are in place that you've already negotiated? I know you talked about the 10% that the president's signing tonight that goes into effect in coming days. That's across the globe. But what about the ones that have already been handed down for different countries?
Right. So we have negotiated a number of substantive trade deals, the most recent yesterday being a trade deal with Indonesia, where they agreed to lower all of their tariffs, all of their non-tariff barriers, etc. In each of these agreements, the other countries agreed to lower their tariffs and non-tariff barriers and cooperate with us on a number of areas. And then the United States has the right under those agreements to impose a tariff at a certain level. In the case of Malaysia or Cambodia, it's 19%, for example. And those agreements hold. Those agreements will remain. We'll honor them. We expect our trading partners to honor them. For a year, I've been telling them that regardless of the direction of this litigation, we will impose tariffs at levels that they agree to.
The biggest question I think I heard today, and the president started to address it, but really hasn't come to a conclusion, is how do you unwind some of this if companies come after you saying you owe me money? The coalition of over 800 small businesses calls for tariff refunds. A legal victory is meaningless without actual relief for the businesses that paid these tariffs. The administration's only responsible course of action now is to establish a fast, efficient, automatic refund process that returns tariff money to businesses that paid it. I mean, it sounds to me that this is going to be awfully messy and in courts for a long time.
Well, the courts have made this decision, and the courts are going to have to help figure out the process by which that might happen. As the president mentioned today, it's a matter for the courts. There'll be some litigation. There is some precedent in the past in other wide-ranging tariff cases where the Court of International Trade, which is a district-level court in the United States, had a hand in being very specific about the how and the when of those kinds of things. So we'll have to see how the courts want to deal with it.
The president's traveling to China next month, March 31st to April 2nd. Does this ruling somehow take a tool away from him in that leverage against China?
Terrible call.
Thanks for asking that, Brett. This is an interesting question. On the one hand, the IEEPA tariffs and that tool have a lot of flexibility and different time restraints. That being said, we have existing tariffs on China under Section 301. We have an open Section 301 investigation on China. So the president retains a lot of leverage and a lot of ability to raise tariffs on China if necessary. And by the way, these are tariffs that have already gone through the courts and have largely been upheld. And so we feel very confident in their reliability.
Yeah, to that point, you mentioned IEEPA, that's the emergency effort. Do you regret using IEEPA if you had these other statutes already on the books and kind of ready to go?
Don't regret it at all.
No, not at all. And by the way, all of these options were presented to the president early on, before he even started his second term. The reality is the president wanted to move quickly, he wanted to move flexibly, and most importantly, he was trying to respond to an emergency of our huge trade deficit we were left with under Biden. And so that's why he was using that. So it was an appropriate tool, was a necessary tool. Obviously, we disagree, along with 3 esteemed justices of the Supreme Court, on the result today. So we don't regret it. It helped us obtain tons of deals covering half of the world's population, opening up market access we haven't enjoyed for 30 years, and we have these agreements, and so we'll just use a different tool. Again, the tools may change, but the policy stays the same, and IEPA was part of that.
I know your job.
These guys, that's Jameson Greer, and the thing about the Trump administration is that they actually hire people with the wherewithal to do the job. I mean, he's very well spoken. He talked about it. He was like, "Yeah, it could be tied up in the courts for a very, very, very long time. Could be. I mean, it could." But I digress. So, right here we have SCOTUS strikes it down, right? And I showed the Bed Senate one. Let me see this one here. So this one here is Trump's response to the whole thing.
The Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country. I'd like to thank the Supreme Court's ruling on...
So, the president was pissed. The president was very angry, and rightfully so, because you put all this work into these things, and you have a group of people that are just self-destructive. They want to destroy everything that you're doing, and it's insane to me. But this is my next video here. I was talking about just the good people, the good quality people that the Trump administration is hiring. And people have their opinion about Pete Hegseth.
Closing, as long as I have breath, I commit to you that I and we should never allow any group, no matter how large or small, to silence us from speaking the capital T truth. Christ is King. He died for our sins. We are forgiven.
It's nice to hear people talk about God and faith and Jesus. It's very nice to hear these things.
And he will come again in glory. Amen. Closing, as long as I have breath, I commit.
And like I've said it, if the dead could speak, they'd all tell you the same thing. Jesus Christ died so that we may live. And it's sad that so many people followed the Antichrist, which was Muhammad, and they die so that that asshole can live somewhat. So, just to show you how weird some of these younger Democrat influencers, quote unquote influencers, are. I don't even know who this guy is. Chris McDowry. I don't know. But you gotta fucking see this, dude. This dude, everything he says is so fucking... It's like, get out of your mom's basement. But you gotta hear this shit.
Pass the SAVE Act because there's no problem with our elections. You are in the middle of a massive disinformation campaign by the President of the United States and our foreign adversaries to convince you there's some massive problem with our elections, with our democracy. There's fraud. The 2020 election was stolen. All nonsensical garbage that you believe because you have the IQ of a small animal. The only thing that they get out of convincing you to pass this bill is it makes it harder for people to vote. And when it's harder for people to vote, Republicans win. One of the requirements in the SAVE Act is when you register to vote, you now have to either provide a passport or a birth certificate. I didn't have a passport until this year, and I lost my birth certificate. UPS lost it in the mail. If I was 18 years old voting in my first election where I voted for Joe Biden in Georgia in a swing state, I was very passionate about politics. But if I was told that I had to go get a passport, spend the time finding all these documents, there's like a 50-50 chance I just don't vote. Why are we doing that? Especially when the premise is this...
Okay, Okay, I'm going to pause that right there because he said one thing that's wrong there. Well, he said more than one thing that was wrong there. But first of all, you only have to show your proof of citizenship when you register to vote. That's one time to vote in all the fucking elections. So once you do that, then you just have to show an ID. That's why we need to pass the SAVE Act, because it requires ID. And Democrats, they wanted you to have a vaccine mandate, a vaccine card, where you had to identify yourself leaving the house. They wanted that. But look at this dude. He's just going off, just saying this
idea
crazy
that there's some
shit.
fraud problem, and there's not.
There's not some fraud. There's not some fraud problem. Are you kidding me? $9 billion. $9 billion in taxpayer money. These people. I saw this wonderful thing with George Peterson, or or Dr. Peterson. There you go. And he was saying, you got to be a bad person. You got to have it in you to be a Christ-like person, because if you are not the fierce beast that you need to be, then who's going to protect? But one, you have to have that in you, because if you don't, you're just weak. But it says more about somebody who was bad, decided to be good because Jesus died for them, right? That's where we come to our next one. This one here is tough, but I'm sure this happens way too often. This child was nabbed and needed help, and this biker was like, abso-fucking-lutely not. And rally this one. But it takes bad people that have been redeemed by Jesus Christ to do these kind of things. Truly, it's amazing. Check this.
Hey, you okay? Who are you with?
Come on, let's go.
Back up, don't come near her.
This ain't your business.
Back up, don't come near her.
Sir, please help me. He kidnapped me.
I said step back, now. Hey, you okay? Who are you with?
Come on, let's go.
Back up, don't come near her.
This ain't your business.
Back up, don't come near her.
Sir, please help me. He kidnapped me.
Now, some of these things too, a lot of them are AI these days. But it doesn't change the story, if that was real or fake or whatever it was. God gave you the strength, right? It's the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the strength to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So that's what I'm talking about. This one here is another one here. This is what I'm talking about with Christians being persecuted. And the Democrats and the liberals, check this out. This is what Christians have to go through on a persecution basis.
The teacher walked over and said, like, what is that? And I was like, it's Ash Wednesday and I'm Catholic, I'm supposed to say one. And he's like, no, it's inappropriate, go take it off.
His attempt to explain the meaning of the symbol fell on deaf ears.
She took me aside and she said, you have to take it off. So she gave me a de-infection wipe, whatever they're called, and she made me wipe it off.
Williams says it happened as many of his classmates watched.
They saw a teacher wipe it off because they wiped it off in front of all my friends. I felt like really bad.
The school's principal called Williams' grandmother as soon as she learned of the incident.
I was pretty upset.
The teacher also called.
And I asked her if she read the Constitution of the First Amendment, and she said no and oh.
The Davis School District says what happened is not acceptable.
Why that even came up, I have no idea.
It wants students of all faiths to feel welcomed.
When a student comes into school with ashes on their forehead, it's not something that we say, please take off.
Oh, well, isn't this terrible? So, my biggest point here with this is that should never fucking happen. But do you think they do that to the Muslim kid at school? Do you think the teacher would come up and say, hey, take that shit off your head? No. So why are they telling Catholics or Christians on Ash Wednesday? Now, Lent has started, and I've been doing the 40 days on Hollow Fantastic app. It's great. They got the 40 Days of Lent. You can follow it. They got Chris Pratt. They got Mark Wahlberg. It's really good. And if you ever would like to check this out, we also have, with my podcast, we have our viewers. Anybody that listens to the podcast can use my promo code at mypillow.com, promo code GRIM. You can get some great prices, and, great for different birthdays, different stuff like that. But you can get up to like 90% off on a lot of the stuff. I know. But that what happened to that little boy is exactly why the president started the White House Faith Council, is to look into instances like that. So, especially Jesus. Jesus is so important to so many people. This next video is a 90-year-old woman who has dementia. She can't remember her name. She can't remember the date. She remembers one thing. Check this out. It's touching.
Hey, can you tell me what your address is?
What my address is?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Okay. What color shirt did you have on yesterday?
I don't know.
What'd you have for lunch today?
Food. Good food.
All right. So who is Linda? Do you know Linda? What about Paul?
Paul?
Paul.
Oh, I don't know Paul either.
All right. Who is Jesus?
Well, Jesus is the one that saved me and lives in my heart and will take me home.
Quite amazing.
Yeah. I love him.
And that is what I'm talking about. That's what we fight for every single day, for people like that, to protect them, But it's amazing too that they call the president racist. The man was good friends with Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson actually fucking hated Barack Obama because he thought, and I quote, he talked down to young black men. And these Democrats, they have no arguments. They have no policy. They just have hate Trump, call him racist, call him names, and demonize Trump. Well, Trump makes a beautiful celebration for Black History Month, and it was awesome. Check this out.
President right here, President Donald Trump, brought me from the prison pit to the White House. Only in America. There be a story like my story. And President Trump is the only president who would have had the courage to bring someone like me, someone who received a second chance, but who knows more than someone who is sit among the captives, than someone who has been in captivity themselves. This president right here, President Donald Trump, brought me.
And they had many, many other really nice things to say about him too, but it was really, really cool. They really made some big investments into Black colleges as well. And those were the programs that Biden actually pulled from them. So check this one out. They had, there was more than just one, but listen to this one. Listen to this one. It's amazing.
I am here today to just tell you that no tax on tips has been an amazing blessing for me. President Trump has been an amazing blessing for me. And at the end of the day, Jesus has been an amazing blessing for me. I am here today to just tell you.
And, you know, I mean, look at these lives that he's changing by helping these people, you know, and he's truly helping people. Truly helping people. There's something wrong with the video, or it's my thing. But there was a lot of shout outs. They absolutely love the man. Absolutely love the man. So, again, I just showed you that video of that kid talking about how nobody stole 2020, right? Well, it turns out they were registering dead people, like we said. Surprise.
People accused of running a driver's license scheme in Louisville are now facing federal charges.
Four of them appeared in court today. Jamie Mays joins us live to tell us what happened in front of the judge. Jamie?
Rick, Vicky, the defendants who appeared in court pleaded not guilty today. The fifth suspect does not have any record of his arrest just yet, but all are accused of working together, charging immigrants hundreds of dollars for illegal licenses. A new indictment describes the elaborate scheme targeting people who didn't know how to get a driver's license in Kentucky. The document says starting no later than November 1st, 2023, Raul Tellez Ojeda, Lozaro Alejandro Castelo Rojas, and Robert Danger Correa recruited people who were immigrants and offered to get them a license by avoiding a line and bypassing testing requirements at the driver licensing regional office at the NIA Center. Those applicants were allegedly told fees ranged from $200 to $1,500 and were made to believe the process was legal. The indictment says the suspects often escorted applicants on the day of their appointment and told them where to wait and when to enter the NIA Center. Many of the applicants had difficulty speaking English. As part of the scheme, Danita Wilson and Ariel Matthews, who worked as temp workers at the NIA Center, are accused of manually changing the status of driver's license records so the system would recognize licenses that did not exist. According to the indictment, a duplicate license would be printed even though an original had never been issued. It also says the scheme involved kickbacks and bribes to other workers within the licensing office so that certain customers were directed to Wilson and Matthews issuing stations. The suspects are accused of running the scheme through October of 2024. They're now charged with dozens of counts of mail fraud, unlawful production of identification documents, and money laundering conspiracy. Raul Tellez Ojeda was not in court today, and there is no record of his arrest just yet. If convicted, the defendants face a maximum of 20 years for each count of charges filed. Reporting live, I'm Jamie Mays, WLKY.
So, they were voting. They were voting in our elections. Like, who else driver's license are you fucking giving away, you know? They're selling driver's licenses. What the hell happened under the Biden regime where all of this fraud started and all this fraud started happening, right? You got $9 billion of fraud in Minnesota, and then you have these people printing IDs. And you're telling me that you're going to bitch about providing a fucking driver's license in your birth certificate? There's a reason for it. I mean, there's a reason we need these things. Now, this is an old video of Ron Paul, but I think he hit the nail on the head with this one. Check this one out here.
Our government intervention in the economy, the private affairs of citizens, and the internal affairs of foreign countries leads to uncertainty and many unintended consequences. Here are some of the consequences about which we should be concerned. I predict U.S. taxpayers will pay to rebuild Palestine, both the West Bank and the Gaza, as well as Afghanistan. U.S. taxpayers paid to bomb these areas, so we will be expected to rebuild them. Peace of sorts will come to the Middle East, but will be short-lived. There will be big promises of more U.S. money and weapons flowing to Israel and to Arab countries allied with the United States. Federal Reserve policy will continue at an expanding rate with massive credit expansion, which will make the dollar crisis worse. Gold will be seen as an alternative to paper money as it returns to its historic role as money. Military and police powers will grow, satisfying the conservatives. The welfare state, both domestic and international, will expand, satisfying the liberals. Both sides will endorse military adventurism overseas. During the next decade, the American people will become poorer and less free, while they become more dependent on the government for economic security. The war will prove to be divisive, with emotions and hatred growing between the various factions and special interests that drive our policies in the Middle East. Agitation from more class warfare will succeed in dividing us domestically. And believe it or not, I expect lobbyists will thrive more than ever during the dangerous period of chaos. I have no timetable for these predictions, but just in case, keep them around and look at them in 5 to 10 years. Let's hope and pray that I'm wrong on all accounts. Mr. Speaker.
He was right on every single one of them, and that's what Trump is trying to correct right now, which is just amazing, because we did get poorer. And now we're trying to bring all these things back to the country, back into our country, right? So this is great. So Hillary Clinton went over to the Czech Republic and absolutely got fucking fact-checked by a Czech Republican, or a Czech politician, I'm sorry. But look at this, dude. This is hilarious.
Well, first, I think you really don't like him.
You know, that is absolutely true. But I really, not only do I not like him, I don't like him because of what he's doing to the United States and the world. And I think you should take a hard look at it if you think that there is something good that will come out of it.
What I think Trump is doing in America, I think it is reaction for something for some policies that really went too far from the regular people, too far from reality. So, you know, we saw the cancel culture. We saw the woke revolution. I don't agree with the gender revolution, the climate alarmism.
Which gender? Women having their rights?
No, let Peter go on.
I think there are two genders. So, but some of
us
think that there is more than one, or more than two gender. I think there is male and female, and the rest probably is a social construct. So this is something that went too far.
But does that justify selling out the people of Ukraine who are on the front lines dying to save their freedom and their two genders, if that's what you're worried about?
Can I please finish my points? I'm sorry that it makes you nervous. I'm really sorry for that.
It makes me nervous. It makes me
Like, he absolutely shut her down on one, Trump derangement syndrome, and two, how far fucking things went during the Biden regime. Now, this one right here is a lesson in liberal smugness, all right? So, they're smug, all of them. And remember how it all went? They all said Trump's never going to be president. That's what they said. Trump's never going to be president. And then, we won in 2016.
For president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke.
I think if he becomes the president, he'll make it great, because the states is already great.
I think that man will be president of the United States right about the time that spaceships come down filled with dinosaurs and red capes.
On that note, Tom,
take it from me. How about that?
Cheers, Tom.
I mean, he had a really good chance to be different and really have a chance to change things, but he doesn't do the work. He's lazy.
Donald Trump, just last week, he confirmed to the National Review that he is again considering a run in 2016.
Do it. Do it. Look at me. Do it. I will personally write you a campaign check now on behalf of this country, which does not want you to be president, but which badly wants you to run.
He's not going to be president. Donald Trump is not going to be president of the United States. Take it to the bank. I guarantee it.
All right.
And we better be ready for the fact that he might be leading the Republican ticket next year. I know you don't believe that, but I want to go on to write it down.
Sorry to laugh.
And which Republican candidate has the best chance of winning the general election?
Of the declared ones, right now, Donald Trump.
And so, right now, Mr. Trump, to answer your call for political honesty, I just want to say, you're not going to be president, all right?
It's been fun. It's been great. I love you. But come on, buddy. All, let's say, cow poo-poo aside, there is zero chance we'll be seeing you being sworn in on the Capitol steps with your hand on a giant golden Bible.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! Exclamation point at real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump, at least I will go down as a president.
Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican.
And then he won. And absolutely exposed all these pieces of shit for everything that they were. Insider trading, all of that. But Bill Maher has come around from then. He really has. This one here, he tells off someone who tries to claim that Islam is like other religions. And it's actually refreshing to hear people like him
liberal beliefs that are held by vast numbers of Muslim people that I don't think
vast number of Christians too.
No, that's not true. Not true. Vast numbers of Christians do not believe that if you leave the Christian religion, you should be killed for it. Vast numbers of Christians do not treat women as second-class citizens. Vast numbers of Christians
I agree with that.
do not believe that if you draw a picture of Jesus Christ, you should get killed for it. Most Muslim people in the world do condone violence just for what you think. They do. First of all, they say it. They shout it from the...
Vast majorities of Muslims
Absolutely.
say that?
There's a Pew poll of Egypt done a few years ago. 82%, I think it was, said stoning is the appropriate punishment for adultery. Over 80% thought death was the appropriate punishment for leaving the Muslim religion. I'm sure you know these things.
I know, well, I do, but I
claim that this religion
believe...
is like other religions is just naive and plain wrong. It is not like other religions. The New York Times pointed out in an op-ed a couple of weeks ago that in Saudi Arabia, just since August 4th, I think it was, they have beheaded 19 people, most for non-violent crimes, including homosexuality.
Those that got the hands off the thief.
Right. Okay, so we're upset that ISIS is beheading people, which we should be upset about. But Saudi Arabia does it, and they're our good friends because they have oil.
Right.
Okay? But they do it too. This is the center of the religion. But, I mean, in Mecca, where infidels, non-Muslims, are not even allowed in the holy parts of the city. I mean, right there, we don't have that example in other religions. Okay, they do behead people. Now, if they were beheading people in Vatican City, which is the equivalent of Mecca in... Don't you think there'd be a bigger outcry about it? So this is the soft bigotry of low expectations that we have with Muslim people. When they do crazy things and believe crazy things, somehow it's just not talked about nearly as much. There are
the soft bigotry, as he calls it. That's a good term for it. But it's true. Can you imagine? Because the morals are completely opposite. You can't say that it's a peaceful religion. You can't. And it's crazy. Okay, I'm gonna get through these videos here because we're coming up on time. This one right here is like I said before, Epstein is eating fucking people. He's eating fucking people, okay? And check out this video. It's nuts.
Allegedly in the...
Oh, I just got told that people don't know about McDonald's. Okay, you know the adrenochrome production? Okay, let's go back a couple of steps. Adrenochrome is adrenalized blood. It is developed when an individual is in a deep state of terror. Adrenaline pumps through the blood, and then they drain that blood from the person, and that's a drug. It's a drug of choice. It is produced on an industrial scale. Walmart uses its supply chain to transport around the world. It's transported in 44-gallon drums, say out of Holland. Now, how many babies do you have to kill and torture to get a 44-gallon drum? So what do you do with the bodies after that? Well, I just put them into the McDonald's burgers. In US. This is US. I don't know about Oz, but definitely the US. When I say they hate you...
That's disgusting.
Is allegedly in the...
Oh.
That's disgusting. So the guy just alleged that after they get that blood from these kids and these people that disappear, nuts. So Pam Bondi was caught on tape back in April 2025 talking about the Epstein. I'm going to show you this one here. She was hot mic'd, but it's interesting because they're withholding still some files. We want them all. We want to know. This has been the most transparent administration we have ever had for anything. But listen to this one.
They're going to get released? We hope soon. Okay. Your husband. Okay. So, any dates? No, you know what it is? Videos? Yeah, and it's all with little kids. So they have to go through every one. They're going to get released? We hope soon.
But think about this. Tens of thousands of videos. That's what this fucking creep is doing on that island to kids that he would fly in. And there are people out there too. There are a lot of lost kids, homeless kids that are out there by themselves. And that I believe they have like the Covenant House, which is for the kids that are for homeless kids. But think about those people that don't have a parent that goes that loves them and fucking keeps an eye on them. I always used to make fun of my father because I was this big in 6th grade. Okay, I haven't grown an inch since, and my dad would always like when I was younger, he'd be like, oh, he didn't want me to get snagged, and I'm like, Dad, they're not gonna snag me, right? I'm not the one that they snag. They snag the little guy. I'm the guy. I'm too much trouble for these people, and too ugly, I guess. I don't know, but I digress. I totally fucking understand his paranoia now. I totally get it. I totally get it, Dad. I totally get it. Totally understand why you were so paranoid when I was a kid about that shit. And I'm thankful for my parents. I'm so blessed. That truly is privilege, is to have two parents that love you and are still together. So thank you so much for listening to my podcast today, and we'll be back. We're going to start doing a Wednesday show. If you subscribe on Apple Podcasts, we're going to start doing a little half-hour show every. If you want to be the most informed person in the room, we're going to take care of you. Subscribe. Thanks so much for listening. Keep the faith and get out there and talk shit to a liberal today. Thanks so much.